and delivering speech with humor. Okay. And then we will finish with Alyssa Pan's Discover Your Inner Animal to look at leadership and teamwork in a light. Each session is 40 minutes long, and there will be a 10-minute break in the middle. Martin Vaccaro spends his spare time making audiences laugh until they cry. His smooth style, witty comments, and sex appeal make him one of the most sought after comedians of the entire household. When he is not amazing his audience with his unique comedic style, he takes improv classes, attends Toastmaster meetings, and has deep philosophical debates with his wife, such as which came first, the chicken or the egg. Martin has been a Toastmaster for 5 years, given over 100 speeches. He's been a district contest finalist twice and hopes to compete at the World Championship of Public Speaking. Today, he's building his career as an inspirational speaker and comedian. Please welcome Martin Vaccaro. Unleash the funny you.
Thank you, Lee, for that introduction. Remind me to send you a check. This was a $20 presentation. There was a better one that gives you all the accolades, real and unreal. Not like such as like a international speaker, worldwide renowned speaker, but that was $50. So, had to keep it on the budget. Before we start, a couple of house rules. I like to make this workshop interactive. Don't worry, I won't call you up. Don't worry, just minor interaction. So if you can keep your cameras on, that would be great. If not, that's fine too. But just make sure that you are fully dressed. If you're planning, particularly if you're planning to stand up. Let's keep it PG-13, people. I also wanted to let you know that I'm using 2 screens. So if you see me looking away, I am not checking videos in YouTube or talking to my family on the other screen. I am just looking at you, which I have you on the left. All right. And that's why I'm going to be not all the time looking at the camera. At the end of this workshop, we will have some Q&A questions. So write down your questions if you have some, and I will be glad to respond to those. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready? Woohoo! Woo! That sounded a lot better on my head. I gotta tell you, on my head, I was really cool, wearing shades. You were like, wow. I was on stage, music would start. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para darle alegría y cosas buenas. And then confetti and fireworks will start. Anyway, let me tell you a little more about myself. I was born and raised in Argentina. I went there to high school, elementary school, high school, college, and I got my degree in film over there. And then I moved to the US to work in the film industry. In 2015, I joined Toastmasters after attending the international convention in Vegas, which was absolutely an incredible experience. Since then, I have attended to most, if not all, the contests from the club level to international convention that I was able to. Yes, we have attended to the last 5 or 6 international conventions with my wife, where we consider ourselves international convention junkies. And because of that, I was able to see and be inspired by many speakers that, in a way has been the most educational experience I have had in Toastmasters. I also have competed, like Lee said, recently and for the last few years in a different contests. Last year, I reached the district finals, and this year I got a little short. I got second on division. And but the thing is, if you are second, you still learn a lot of things, and it's a lot of fun. Moving on. I was talking about film industry. Yes, I work in the film industry in a post-production company called Company 3. And we do everything from color editing, you name it, VFX. And we work with shows like, well, from Netflix, HBO, Hulu, Paramount, Universal, and the works. It's a very interesting job. I really like it. And now to what concerns us, unleash the funny you. I often hear people struggling with their speeches and saying, I cannot make it funny. So how can I make that work? So during this workshop, I will give you some suggestions to help you deliver your speeches in a more entertaining and funny way. Disclosure. The techniques we'll cover today work better in in-person speeches. If you want to be funny on Zoom, good luck. It's hard to do comedy on Zoom. You can use the technique we're going to see, but there are some technical limitations. Plus, you know, there are people who tend to be more distracted. Sorry, I got an email coming up. So just to recap, try to use the techniques we're going to work on today. And if you are doing comedy on Zoom, just think and imagine you are killing it. All right, let's start. Let me ask you something. How many of you has been told you are funny? Let me see. Raise your hand. All right. Now, from those, how many you heard that from your mom? Because that's kind of cheating. However, I'll get back to that in a second. Now, how do you know if you are funny? Well, if you have made people laugh like ever, or if you have fun by yourself, like we're looking at the mirror, making faces and doing voices and weird sounds, or, and most importantly, coming back to what I asked you before, if you make your close ones, family, friends, spouses, laugh regularly. Because that's tough. They know your joke, they know your styles. So make them laugh regularly is quite a work. So if you apply for any of those categories, believe me, you are funny. You don't need to be born to be funny in order to do comedy. Okay, now let's do a little more interaction here. Open your chat, all right? And I will ask you this question. Why do you want to be funny? All right, what's the benefit of being funny? Why do you want to be funny? So while you start filling in the chat, I will continue describing that being funny in speeches, applying humor on speeches and in your delivery, it makes a whole difference when it comes to public speaking. Let's see. It's fun to be, it was a fun way to bond. Absolutely. It's an excellent way to interact with your audience. Engagement, connection, absolutely. It keeps your audience attention. Yes. And is key, particularly on Zoom for what I said. Let's see. Yes, give you a purpose, build a connection with the audience. Yes, a good way to break the ice, to get attention. Absolutely. If we are in Toastmasters, we like the attention. That's nothing wrong with that. It's a way to be creative and connect and to make people like you. Yes, all that is absolutely true. Being funny is an efficient way to communicate with your audience. It helps to convey your message and make it memorable, leave a long-lasting memory on people. It also improves productivity and relationships at work. I remember going to work in a very tense atmosphere, people stress out for different reasons, and you go in and just make a joke, do something nice, and people immediately distend, relax a little bit, and work better. So it definitely helps in that aspect. And also, it is proven by many scientists and magazines and articles that being funny makes you better looking. I don't know what happened here, but it works in general. There are exceptions. Okay, let's start with some tips. I will give you some tips, then we'll go over some techniques. Then we're gonna see a live example with a video I'm gonna show you. And then we're gonna do a recap. So write what you can. I understand that this is gonna be recorded and maybe accessible later, so don't worry if you don't get everything. I will give you my email later on in case you have questions as well. Let's start with some tips. First one, know your audience. It's extremely important that you know who you're talking to. We are a little bit spoiled in Toastmasters because the audience is kind of similar in a way. We have a good range of variety. It's not so kind of narrow in one aspect. But if you are going to give a speech outside Toastmasters, you need to know for sure who you're talking to so you don't make inappropriate comments. Second one, enjoy your own comedy. Smile. All right. Not too long ago, I was giving a speech and I decided to go with some stand-up comedy style. But so used to the regular format for speeches, I was not entirely into it. And I came out really serious. So when I did the stand-up comedy, it was very almost like complaining about things. So if you smile, that definitely helps. The next tip is use your tools at your disposal. For example, I am an immigrant, so I can use things like adapting to a new environment, to a new language, with all the challenges that for a non-native speaker comes with. I'm also a procrastinator sometimes, or most of the times, but I'll tell you more about that later. And there's also people like, they think they have professions that they're not associated with funny things like engineers or accountants, dysfunctional families. So there's always things that you can use to improve and make yourself funny. The next tip is don't be afraid of being vulnerable. I hear a lot of, well, I'm not sure what they're going to think about me. I don't want to come out as a clown or like I'm not taking me seriously. When you are vulnerable, you connect with your audience at a different level. They sympathize with you and they connect much better. So don't be afraid of being vulnerable. The other one is take improv classes or acting classes. That is one of the most important and valuable tips that I can give you. Right before joining Toastmasters, I did some acting classes. And believe me, it was day and night. When I came to Toastmasters, I had no idea how to give a speech with the proper structure and all that. But I wasn't afraid of facing the audience because I was doing that day after day in the acting classes. And every speech has a little bit of acting in a sense. So acting classes, super important, very helpful. Next one is go outside your club. Back to what we said earlier about the family, that they know your jokes, they know your style. Your club also knows you. And I have talked to some very international speakers, and I was surprised to hear them saying, yeah, I go away from my club because when I give a speech, they go like, oh, so-and-so is giving a speech. I was thinking, you are a world champion, or how come that? It happens, they see you every day. So go outside your club, meet other people, get some other energy. It's really good. And last tip is don't overlap when your audience is laughing. Give them time to laugh. Sometimes when we are doing something funny and people start laughing, we want to catch up and make them laugh even more. But in that attempt, we get a little anxious and we just cut them off. And that kind of sometimes kill the vibe a little bit, so just interrupt them. So give them time to laugh, to digest your funny moments. Okay, let's get into technical aspects, techniques. First technique, try to set the tone from the very beginning. Now, what does it mean? Well, set the tone means just let the audience know that you are going to say something funny, that you are going to do something funny. How do you let them know that? Well, there are different tools. The first one could be the title. For example, world champion in 2001, world champion, Darren Lacroix, his title was Ouch. Well, when I hear that, I immediately think of something funny. It could be painful, but it's a funny title, Ouch. In 2016, Aaron Beverly made a very, very long title. That it was super long, and that was hilarious. People were like cracking up even before he stepped on stage. So that also works. When I did my humor speech, the title of my speech was Leadership and Communication Skills I Learned from Cows. So that was like really odd, and people were still laughing already when they heard that. So a title can give you a hint, or can give the audience a hint of what you're going to talk about. And the other one is props. Using props is so important because it helps a lot. People will remember you. I remember, for example, 2015, Mohammed Katani getting the cigarette and starting to smoke in an enclosed space. And people were like freaking out, what's going to happen? Then in 2016, Darren Tay with the brief, the underwear on stage. And in 2019, Aaron Beverly came with an ethnic gown. I think it was Indian gown. So all those things help to connect with people, and they will remember you for that. For example, 2014, the guy whose name I don't dare to pronounce, I'll call him the guy with the rose. And we all have seen him and remember him because of the rose. So that's how important a prop is. It kind of engrave on people's mind your presence and your speech. Next technique, self-deprecating humor. Very, very efficient. Try always to make fun of yourself rather than making fun of other people. Unless you know that people very well, sometimes it could be, you have to be very careful. It could come a little offensive, depending who you're doing to. So self-deprecating humor definitely helps. It's a good idea. Appropriateness. Stay away from religion, politics, race, or sexual connotations. We live in a very picky and delicate world nowadays. So one little thing you say, it could go wrong. So just be careful and try to keep it appropriate. This next technique is one of the most efficient ones, and is the use of misdirection or change of direction. Basically, you set up something, you create some suspense or anticipation, and you close with a punchline. Here's a good example. In my last speech this year when I was competing, I was talking to the audience and letting them know that I met my wife at a party. And I was saying, well, I saw my wife on the other side of the room. I smiled at her, she smiled back. I stood up, she stood up. I walked toward her, and she walks towards, and you expect you to say towards me. And I said, the bar. That is a change of direction. People are not expecting that I would say that. So that creates a funny moment, right? So that's a little bit like a surprise in the punchline. Next one, and this one applies for comedy or regular speeches. Use of characters or different voices. Use of dialogue, so people can know for sure who is talking. So when you have, for example, a dialogue, I normally recommend do a 45 degrees in this direction and the other person 45 degrees in this direction. So that way people know exactly who's talking. And if you can add some voices to each character to make it even more clear. In another speech, I was talking to my dad. I was a kid and I was telling the story that my dad was talking to me and he was driving. So I couldn't do the 45 degrees. So what I did is I put my dad like with the holding the wheel, and I gave a very deep voice to my dad, and I could just have my own voice for myself. So that way, it's very clear who's talking. So characters, dialogue, voices, really good. And the voices also sometimes trigger some acting that really helps to give a little extra something to the audience. All right. Now, how about seeing all that or some of that, because it's not all that, some of that in a real example. All right, let me share my screen. Let's see, share screen. All right, I think it's this little guy. Give me 1 second. Okay, hold on. Do you see the video? All right. Okay, we're not going to hear the whole video because it's going to take too long, but just probably the first 2 or 3 minutes. All right, here we go.
Our next and last contestant today is Vaccaro. Communication and leadership skills I learned from Cal. Communication and leadership skills I learned from Cal. Vaccaro. Never underestimate the power of the cow. No, you can always trust the noble speed. Hungry? Thirsty? A glass of milk? Able topic on leadership issues? No problem. They can help too. I'm sorry. Fellow power lover. You're a bad student like I was. You have to rely on your survival instinct and develop new ones. For me, elementary school, I didn't do that. I got by.
Martin, the volume is pretty low. We can't hear you speaking on the video.
Let me see if I can bring it up.
I failed four.
Hold on, let me see if I can bring my volume up. The volume is a little low, but let me see audio settings. I don't know if the output volume will fix that, but let's give it a try. All right, so let me go slightly behind. There you go. Let's see if it works better now.
My first biology class was taught by Miss Daenerys, or as I used to call her, an associate of Satan. That is nasty habit of telling students to recite the lesson of the day right before each class and in front of everybody. Every time she got her list to pick a new victim, everybody's heart started racing. Once my heart rate got up to 144 per minute. I know that for a fact because I was checking it in my brand new pulse monitoring watch. But there it was, checking my vitals, minding my own business. And I heard this right word. Vaccaro.
All right. I hope you were able to get something there. So what did we have in here? Right? What are the elements that we saw earlier that they were included in this speech? Well, For example, we have the prop, the cow, which people still remember the cow. So that works, definitely. We have self-deprecating humor. That's for sure, because I was talking about what is such a bad student I was, and how, you know, that in a way triggered all the story, which was a real story, by the way. And then also we have a change of direction. When the teacher is saying, have you studied the lesson for today? And I say no, normally we would say, well, the student will, you said that the teacher said you got an F, and you probably will hear, well, oh my God, give me another opportunity or something. And I go like, thank you. So that's the kind of a change of direction, the surprise that we're talking about. Okay, what other thing we have in there? Use of different voices. I gave the teacher, which I called like previously, an associate of Satan. I gave her a very evil and malign voice, like Vaccaro. So when she's talking, it's very clear that is a different person. Okay, now, in order for all these techniques to work, you have to have certain elements that I recommend for any type of speech, not only for comedy. Number one, prepare your speech properly, for example, with a good and clean structure. If you are all over the place, people will be confused and will be less likely to laugh about of your content. Second, pick the proper genre. For funny speeches, I strongly recommend storytelling. It doesn't mean that you cannot be funny with the technical or academic speech. It's going to be harder, or even with slides. Sometimes it's more challenging because the content is really kind of dry in a way. So I would say, for example, if you're giving something very technical, when you finish with a bunch of terms that most of people will not get, you can go like, and you thought you were not going to have fun today. So that kind of comment that immediately will put people in laughing a little bit and give a break on all the content that you're using there. The next one is the one that people like the least, memorization. Don't improvise. I know, particularly native speakers, and they say, well, I'm gonna go and wing with it, the speech, because yeah, I can talk. Yes, but a speech needs to have a structure, and you cannot do the structure, the vocal variety, the gestures, and the comedy, and all that while you are improvising. Is too much. So I strongly recommend memorization. When you memorize, then you don't have to read, which reading also takes a little bit of the emotions from there. And also, it gives you time to prepare your gestures, your vocal variety, your comedy. So if you're solid with your speech, there are more chances that you're going to be funny. And finally, very important, timing. Give time for laughing, like I said earlier. When you are doing a 5 to 7 minute speech, I strongly recommend, as a rule of thumb, just prepare a speech for 6 minutes. Aim for 6, because it depends on how many laughs you're going to get. It extends a lot. And when I went to that contest that I was showing, the video I was showing you, it was a surprise to see that a lot of people were laughing more than I expected. And at some point, I started to step a little bit on the people's laughing, because I was concerned I was going to go over time. So always consider extra time, like comfortable time for people to laugh. You want them to enjoy your speech. All right, those are the general techniques that you can use. Now, what if people don't laugh? Okay, well, first of all, try to enjoy yourself, your own comedy, your speech. Just have fun. If they don't, at least you do. That's something important. Also, keep moving. Don't dwell on what is not working. It's not working anyway, so just move on. Particularly, don't start thinking what did I do wrong? Because when you start thinking what happened wrong in the past, you start affecting immediately the present and the future, because your mind is back there and not here. So just let it go, keep moving, and particularly and most importantly, do not, I repeat, do not explain your joke or punchline. Not a good idea. If you do that, clearly something didn't work. Okay, now let's recap real quick. Tips: know your audience, enjoy your own comedy, and smile. Use the tools at your disposal. Don't be afraid of being vulnerable. Take improv classes or acting. Visit other clubs. Allow your audience time for laughter. And as techniques, we saw set the tone from the beginning with either a funny title or a prop or something that just made people sympathize with you. Use self-deprecating humor, very efficient and always work. And don't put down other people if it's not necessary. Appropriateness, right? Remember to keep it simple and out of trouble. Use misdirection or change of direction. I cannot stress enough how change of direction it can impact your speech. It rarely fails. It's very, very efficient. And one of my favorites, use characters or different voices, dialogues, enact scenes. It makes it so much richer. I could have said, oh, I was going in the car with my dad when he told me blah, 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 and I respond, blah, blah, blah. Instead, I just put my dad, how are you doing in school? I found a squirrel yesterday, and I changed the subject completely to something else. So that's kind of a very efficient way to solve that kind of a problem and make the speech much more enjoyable. All right, well, that's all I have for you today. I will give some time, if we have time, for some Q&A. If you have any questions for me, I would like to you would like me to respond.
Please go ahead with questions.
No questions? Oh, wait a second. I have a private chat here. I wrote a super funny speech, but nobody was laughing. Okay, well, if that happens, what you need to do is to just go over the different elements we described. Maybe you didn't give them time to laugh, or you were not organized. That's very important. I've seen people super funny, but the structure is all over the place. So I say, where are we going with this? I mean, this is not entirely stand-up comedy, so we need to have a structure, beginning, middle, and end, and some kind of message on that. The other one is, how do I make a very technical, how do I make a very good technical presentation to sound funny? Well, we talk about that and just try to add something. Can I add humor to speeches with slides? Oh, definitely, definitely. What I would do is, if you have slides, let's say that they're super technical and very kind of dry, I will insert a photo of a funny dog or yourself doing something weird with a hair like this, and then you go, oops, sorry, and just keep moving. You get the laughter. You don't have to get the laughter with the data. Most likely you won't get the laughter with the data of the presentation you're giving, but if you want to do something funny, you can add that there. Or you can just do like, go back and forth with the slides and say, oh, I know I'm technologically challenged, or things like that, that people will laugh and kind of get them out of the very proper process. Okay, well, I think that's it. If I don't have any other questions, I will leave the room for everybody to chat and interact. I would like to thank you, everyone, for coming here today, for being a wonderful audience. And I return control to Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for your presentation. Okay, I think we have a 10-minute break, and then we'll, I guess, for Alyssa to get her courage up, and then we'll start again. So we'll come back about 2:45. Will that work? Start again at 2:45.
Teddy, how are you doing today? You had a long day.
I'm doing good. I'm getting the hang of the tech master role as the day goes on.
6 hours later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
I'm working towards it's working.
Yeah.
Getting there.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, David. Thank you, Alyssa and Martin, for all your help today.
Martin, you said you can't be funny on Zoom. I was laughing several times throughout your presentation.
Yes, no, I must admit that you can, but it's much harder because, well, we're so used to screens and that, you know, we get distracted with the two screens or one screen, the phone, the iPad, the people at the house and kids and who knows, so many things that normally in an in-person meeting, you are just focused on the speaker. So it's more challenging, but it's not impossible. Definitely not. I'm glad you were laughing.
I did. I laughed. And also, I'm going to have to take one of those comedy classes because I am not funny. Maybe I am, but not intentionally.
Well, that's the thing. Is sometimes it's basically use what you accidentally did and repeat it. I remember watching or seeing a comedian saying, if you sometimes you're clumsy or you did something accidentally, you trip into something and people laugh and you don't consider yourself funny, trip again. After all, look, when you see Charles Chaplin or people and comedians in the past, they do a lot of clumsy movements or things that they're very physical. Hey, if that works, why not? So you just have to see what works, what made people laugh, and just research on that area. Absolutely.
A couple of years ago, I did the advanced manual on humor. Mm-hmm. And so I booked a club. I went out to a club that wasn't my own and did it bomb. I mean, I was literally hot under the collar. I was so embarrassed.
Yeah, sometimes the problem is with comedy, people are so concerned about what they're going to talk about that in a way you undermine yourself. It's like you already go like, I am not going to do a good job. You're not telling them that, but the attitude is I'm not going to do a good job. And eventually it end up kind of coming against you. That's why the first thing I said is enjoy your own comedy, enjoy your own jokes. Show the people that you're having fun, that you're not so afraid of what they are going to say. So
one of the mistakes I made, I was using other people's jokes. I saw somebody do something on YouTube. I thought, that's funny, I'll try that.
Yeah,
it failed totally. And so I came home in the car and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And then I developed a story that happened to me. And if you use your own self-deprecation, your own story, it can probably be much more funny than if you use somebody else's jokes.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely right. And I think in Toastmasters, we can always add the Toastmaster humor. That is always work. People love Toastmaster humor. And I don't know, I've sometimes I say in the club, oh, I was I don't know, I was applying for a job. And believe me, I was scary. I mean, not any scary. I was table topic scary. And people are laughing because, you know, it's related to what we do in every day at the club. So yeah, absolutely.
You know, a Toastmaster when they say Happy New Year on July 1st.
Exactly. There you go. See, that's funny. You just did it. It's your own joke. See, that's the key. That's the key. Exactly. Yep. I know my key is goofiness. I know I have a goofy face. People say, hey, you look like that Italian actor from The Life is Beautiful, the Roberto Benigni. And I said, okay, yeah, I know, it's my uncle. I mean, no, not really. But so I use that every time I can. And it's just making faces that there's something funny. And there's some people, we have a member in our club. He's super serious, very serious guy. But somehow he's hilarious. So he just have to say whatever he say and people will laugh. So it's just, you have to find your strength and exploit it. And everyone has something to exploit, that's for sure. I will leave my email. I didn't leave it earlier, just in case. There you go. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. I'll be happy to exchange information with you.
Good enough, Martin. Good job. Appreciated it. That was great.
Absolutely. It was fun.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I think a problem with Zoom is that only one person can be talking at a time.
Mhm.
So we can't hear our laughter, or the whole audience's laughter.
Yeah.
Here we come. Alyssa Pan has been a Toastmaster for 6 years in 2 districts. She's served as area director, as club officer several times. Toastmasters has helped her to discover her love for teaching and storytelling. She is teaching English and Chinese classes online using her Toastmaster skills. During the past year, Alyssa had visited online clubs in China, Korea, Japan, Canada, and England. She says, I met so many wonderful people, and we shared our life stories together. Being a Toastmaster made it possible. Please welcome Alyssa Pan with Discover Your Inner Animal.
Thank you, Mr. Lee Lance. Good afternoon, people. I hope you're doing well. You've had lunch, maybe had a little after lunch dessert, and now you're comfortable, it's kind of warm, and maybe you had a drink or two. If you are convenient, if you don't mind, just turning on camera for a couple minutes at the beginning. I'd like to see your just gorgeous faces and a little bit of interaction before we get to the main part of the presentation. All right. So we are Toastmasters. Therefore, we're leaders, we're communicators, we're all the wonderful things. And how many of you see yourself as leaders? Just show your hand. I'm a leader. Cool. How many of you think yourself as a follower? Nothing wrong with following. I take direction as well. I can do the work. Great. How many of you think you're both? Great. Take your hands, wrap them around yourself, give yourself a big hug. Pat yourself on the back. I am cool. All right. We cannot talk about leadership without talking about teams. And teamwork takes on all shapes and forms and sizes. So in today's exercise, we'll take you through something I've done myself, is to discover our work style in the forms of animals. And now if you want, you can turn the camera back up, go back to your PJs and your couch, whatever. It's entirely up to you. Sometimes we get a good team and we work together, things go well, we're just having a wonderful time. Other times we're throwing with people we don't know and have to go through so many challenges just to get the job done. How do we make this process easier, more enjoyable? Well, let's find out what kind of animal you are so we can build a productive, effective team and have fun. I'm going to show you a picture of 4 animals. Go with your gut feeling instinct to see which one suits you the best, the one that speaks to you. Don't overthink it, just go with it. There we go. Lion, eagle, beaver, tortoise. We're going to have a poll coming up in a minute or so you can pick your vote. All right. Again, go with a gut reaction. Don't analyze too much. Don't see what your neighbor is doing. All right, looks good. All right, we got, hey, a lot of eagles. We all want to fly. Mostly eagles and almost equal share of lion, beaver, and tortoise. All right, thank you. So what does this mean? Each animal represents a different work style. It's either the way we choose, or the way we work, the way we do, or the way we want to become. So let's get into the main part of the presentation, and let's analyze each one of the styles. Can people see my slides? All right. This is about leadership, team building, and fun. Let's start with the eagle. Apparently, everybody wants to be an eagle. You're a visionary leader, right? The eagle is flying high above. You have great foresight, vision. You see things that other people don't see, don't realize, and maybe don't appreciate. But you're very observant, and once you find your target, your goal, you go after with speed and accuracy. Have you ever seen an eagle catching a rabbit? They're scary fast. But the downside of the eagle leader, for people who don't understand or see your vision, you might seem cold, distant, arrogant, always high above, not one of us. They may not think of you as a team player. And eagles are generally, most of the time, lone animals. The fun fact I discovered, a group of eagles is called a congress or convocation of eagles. That's a new word for me, because they don't travel in packs. They're alone or with their mate. So if you're an eagle leader, it's lonely at the top. It's something that you need to see and realize. And maybe that's how other people see you as well. And who are some of the leaders that we can associate with this characteristic? So based on my personal, very intensive, in-depth Google search, I came up with these examples. They are pioneers in their industry, right? They've done things that very few people have done before their time. But they may not be the most pleasant people to work with. It might be difficult working on a team with an eagle. I read a little book on Martha Stewart, how she started her whole line of business in multimedia, in the TV industry, talking about housework, cooking, and she earned a huge market share in business. But it was not easy working with her. She was very strict, very tough, and the team is always on high alert. And next, we go to another animal, the lion. People who like the lion style are natural leaders, right? You step in, you're strong and courageous. You're seen as someone who provides support, and you're brave in the face of difficulty. you're also very competitive and result-oriented. That's how you get things done. At the same time, because you could be seen, some people may get a little intimidated, right? They may not think the lion is a good listener because you say, you know what, this is the way we're going to do this, even though it's the right way, even though it's maybe the best way. It may come across as a little bit impatient, maybe a little aggressive. But you are the kind of the leader who will be there with your team and get the job done. And I found a few people that I think have this quality. They are leaders. They're also leaders who work with people and are well respected and supported by the team they work with. Now, those two, the lion and the eagle, we see them as, okay, naturally they're leaders. They can lead a team, lead a company. But what are some of the more unlikely characteristics? The lovely beaver. They're team players, right? They're fun. They're hardworking. They get things done, and they're very dedicated and detail-oriented. They can bring change and balance. And if I would organize a party, I want beavers around. These are the networking people. These are the ones who, bring up the team morale. At the same time, because they're meticulous workers, they might become perfectionists. That things are done the way I'm doing them because that's the best way to do things. And beavers may not want to make decisions until all the facts are in, until everything is ready. And people might see you as overly cautious, or maybe picky and sensitive, or too critical of others because, well, honestly, they're not as perfect as you are. You just do everything so perfectly. Nobody else can replace you. You're going to have doing everything. Now, this does not mean that someone with a beaver work style cannot become a leader, right? Maybe they need the right opportunity. Maybe they need the right position or task. And depends on the size of the project or the type of work we're doing, someone with this work style can easily lead a team or a project. And a very good example I found was somebody or people working on a film set. You ever seen a film set working behind the scene? It's a massive operation. Everybody's got something to do. Everybody's busy. They have their own tasks and things to be done perfectly, right? The right angle, the right lighting, the right camera position. Everything has to go perfectly. You cannot make little mistakes and, put a Coca-Cola bottle in a Game of Thrones movie. And my favorite series, Lord of the Rings, the Hobbits are perfect examples of beavers. Right? They're down to earth, they farm, they live on a little shire land, they're happy. However, Frodo emerged to be a leader because he was tasked with carrying the ring. All right, finally, the tortoise, the wise one. This is one of the most overlooked work styles in the 4 animals. People with this style, they're very wise. They're actually very creative. They have solutions. They have experience, but they're not outspoken most of the time. So people might see them as, not interested. They're submissive. They're just slow and they don't participate or not enthusiastic. But if you do have someone like this on your team, listen to them. They may not speak up very often, but when they do speak, they have very important things to say because they're very analytical. They observe more than they talk. So when the ideas they have or the suggestions they have is generally worth listening to. And again, like the beavers, sometimes it maybe just need to be given the right opportunity. And for a human example, I think Gandhi and Mandela are pretty close examples I can think of. Now, if I get one of these people on my team, I can do anything. I'd be happy to have them. So now at the end, you can see we are not exclusively one or the other. We all have a little bit of everything in us. Maybe one trait is stronger than the other one. Maybe we are a combination of two, or we are one, but we don't want to be the other one. And that's okay. Working in a team is about recognizing our strengths, each other's strengths and styles, and work with it. Then let's get to work. You're going to have a task. All right, for the next portion, our very capable tech master will put you into breakout rooms. You're going to design or create a travel agency and determine a plan, maybe a budget, whatever you want to do. Your team will analyze it, plan it, discuss it. And when you come back, I'm going to pick one or two people from the audience to give us a little summary of how things went. We're going to have about 5 to 7 minutes. Any questions about the breakout room activity? All right, go and start your company.
Do you want it to be 5 to 7 minutes again?
Yes, please.
And we'll give a little warning.
That would be great.
Let's see. There we go.
Teddy, what club are you in?
I'm in Seal Beach Word Masters 165.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been Toastmaster?
Oh, September of 2018 to be exact.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Have you done anything outside of your club?
What do you mean outside of my club?
Or like any district officer positions or helping at contests or events?
No, before the pandemic happened, I did do a contest once, but other than that, no. Yeah, the contest was fun though.
What about your club? Were an officer or any?
Right now, I am the VP of PR.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was the VP of membership, but come January 1st, or not January 1st, July 1st, I'll be the club's president.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
What do you know what division your club belongs to?
Founders District, I think Division, Area C. I'm forgetting the division.
Okay.
No,
Well,
me.
I am actively looking for area directors for
Oh,
next year. People who are capable, who are excited about Toastmasters and just to help out. I was an area director last year and I just had a lot of fun. It took some work, but you have people helping you, working together, and that really helped me grow really outside my club one level above. And that's how, we got into this lace training and all the other stuff. Just want to see if you're interested.
I would be interested in. Yeah. So is your club in Area C, or?
My club is Urban Lunchtime Toastmasters in Division E, but I don't know where you might or which kind of area or division they put you, right? Because it's also based on the need of each part, each division. So, but if you are, then I'm going to email you later or call you later and talk to you later.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can send you my email in like a private chat. And I can look up really quickly what division. I got that incorrect. So we're Division C. We are Division C.
Right, you're
area.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so many it's like division, district, area.
Right.
Teddy,
right.
Are you in Surf City, or which club are you in?
Seal Beach Word Masters.
Seal Beach Word Masters. Okay.
Yeah, 165.
You're in Area
I'm recruiting her already, David. She's mine.
I know. I was recruiting her. I was recruiting her earlier, and you're doing a much better job than I did.
You didn't jump on it quick enough.
We do need area directors in Division F, and I think we need one more in Division C at the moment.
Okay. Well, Teddy, I give you my phone number here. We can chat after this thing, and then well, see, now you already know that two people want you.
I know. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. Oh. Okay, I just let them know that they had one more minute.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And I also gave you my telephone number as well.
Alyssa,
Okay.
I'll double your commission if you can get her to be an area director.
Ooh. Ooh, I like the bet is on.
Yeah.
Okay, Teddy, I just messaged you. I'm sorry. I said hi, David.
Yeah.
Because David messed me up, texted me at the moment that he was talking to me. Let me do it again.
Here we go.
I think I'm excited about the bet.
The need right now is in Division F with Shiva Bachu, and Shiva's an absolute delight to work with.
Well, she asked me. I said, Sheila, I was the area director already last year. I can't do it again.
Sure you can. You can be area director 2 years in a row.
I told her I'll help her, look for people. Hence, Teddy here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna close all the rooms now.
Perfect, thank you. Welcome back, wonderful Toastmaster animals. Now you know what you are, you know what your neighbors, your Zoom neighbors is, what kind of animals they are. All right, let's have some feedback. I know there were 2 breakout rooms, so any volunteers before I start calling people?
Well, I can start.
All right.
Yeah, we have a very, very productive team. Was awesome. I have to say probably they were mostly Eagles because they knew what they wanted. So we have even the name of the travel agency. Let's Travel. That's our agency. So we're going to focus in the virtual and physical, both type of agencies. So with virtual, we can have all kind of people around the world as advisors, and physical, so people can see actually human interaction. We're planning on, the next will be to plan a budget. So to see what kind of advertising we can do. And that leads us to the next part, which is a business plan. What are we going to focus on? All right. The next plan was to start with advertising with marketing research, and see what is going to be our main type of customer. We were debating whether being an international or domestic travel agency, focused mostly on international flights or domestic. And also there was a big discussion about packages. So if we're gonna have school packages, retirement packages, LGBT packages, all type of different kind of options and promotions for different groups. And that was it. I mean, there was a lot of discussion there. Very, very active.
All right, excellent. And it sort of happens that our group here, out of 11 votes, there were 7 Eagles. 7. Okay, imagine a team with 7 leaders like that. I mean, it's great, but you're going to be debating over your vision statement for a long time before you get down to the work. And you're going to set up the grand plans of things, and the divers are thinking, I'm going to have to do all that work now. All right, excellent. A different group, someone who is not in Martine's group. Who was the tortoise person? We have 1. Do you want to maybe speak up and tell us your experience? I know we're a little shy, the tortoise people, a little slow in raising our hands. I'll give you a little extra time to raise your hand.
Vote. but I was a tortoise, so that's okay. We didn't have many eagles. We decided early on about ecotourism, that would be a good thing to do and to specialize in that. And some discussion of where we would take people to, we decided on taking them to places where glaciers are disappearing. They can see what's going on and form an opinion, with firsthand knowledge. Getting there and getting back, there was some discussion. Nobody wanted to use anything that leaves a significant carbon footprint. So we wound up thinking about dirigibles, which, can move pretty fast, 40 miles an hour, and carry 30 people, and can go someplace without scaring the penguins. So that's about as far as we got. It wasn't as near as business deal as the other group.
All right, thank you. Excellent. Again, wise decision, thinking long term on a different level. Great. Anybody else has other, you want to share experience in the group, how the dynamic, how it worked out, whether positive or negative, feedback on the project?
Any of us knew who were tortoises and who were eagles. We didn't tell anybody. It didn't occur to anybody to tell anybody.
That's okay. That's all right. And I know we have one beaver in the group. Does the beaver want to share your experience in the breakout room? What's going through your mind that you're seeing people making these plans? And I've done this in different parts, and it was interesting to see the results. So, for example, the last session I did, the people were equally split between lions and beavers. No tortoise, and only just a few eagles. To me, that's a group that be focused on a lot of getting work done, a lot of stuff and working. That's what I imagine. However, with this group, we have 7 eagles out of 11 votes. Now, that's me thinking, are we all eagle types, or we want to be the eagle types? So this is exercise I hope you can take back to your clubs, take back to your school, classroom, family, wherever you go, just for an experiment to see how this turns out. Because we have our natural work style, or the work style we are trained to do, but we also have what we want to achieve. It does not mean one style is better or worse than the other. We're used to seeing eagles and lions as the leader, the dominating, outspoken extrovert leaders, but does not mean that other people cannot take on the job. We just work together, discuss our styles, figure it out, and move forward, get the job done, and hopefully have fun at the same time. All right, and I want to now open up the Zoom floor to any questions, comments you guys have, or share experience, what you discover about yourself, about other people.
I'd love to know who was what in my group. I'm just curious. I know I was a lion, and I guess Lee was a tortoise. Curious, like Jean, or what were you? I'm just curious. You don't have to say it if you feel comfortable.
Since there are more than 14 people here, and you only got 11 responses, I was still listed as a co-host, so I didn't get to vote.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
So what I was, I'm not sure. I resonated with an eagle because I had watched something on Nova last night about eagles and how cool they were. But whether I don't think I'm actually an eagle. When I got the description, no, that didn't sound like me. Maybe part eagle and part tortoise.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, many times we have more than one traits in us. You know, it's the type of work we actually do and the type of work that we want to do. And in Toastmasters, given opportunity, I'm sure we can all achieve a lot more as the team and as an individual. I once had a friend told me that he's the part beaver and part eagle. That makes him a beagle. I mean, I don't know, the animal in my little chart say, here's a beagle if you want to make that your animal. Anybody else? Questions, comments? Other fun thoughts you want to share?
I think it is interesting that our first reaction or attraction to an animal is something, and then when we see the description, kind of makes you take a sit back a little bit, and you might think, this is not me, or this is only part of me. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I like the lion because the photo is so pretty. The lion there with all the big paws and the head. I like it. I'm not sure if the description is actually fits me, but I like the lion. I agree with Lillian.
I think it's also situation depends. Depends on the situation. If you are parents, a little kid, you have to be a lion or eagle, because otherwise you'll be not able to manage the kids or give them direction. Some cases you have to force to be in certain role, like it or not.
That's true. And in a way, in our families, we take on roles, and at work, sometimes we have to take on a role maybe we're not comfortable with. But that also is how we grow. We push you out of the overly used phrase comfort zone. But hey, you never know if you like it or not until you try. If you don't like it, go back to your shell. That's okay. When I did this exercise in my group, we were in person and we divided into 4 corners of the room, actually standing apart from each other. And there were a big group of eagles and big group of lions, because this was like a MBA seminar training group. And people were like, oh, I'm going to be an MBA, I'm going to be a CEO. And there were like one person in the tortoise group. I felt bad for him, so I'm going to join this group. So sometimes, it's what we think. In a group like that, you can, we have, majority types of eagles and lions, but in actual workplace, how many CEOs do we have? How many CFOs do we have? How many managers and supervisors and staff do we have? So just interesting just to look at, and how we can take advantage of this realization, how we can see it and have fun with it.
Well, I must say that I have a very active group. Sometimes, in those breakout rooms, people take a little while to get into the mood, but man, they were going at it. That said, any ideas? Okay, I was writing down. Like, look, I got like a bunch of notes here. Like, okay, one at a time. So that was a lot of fun. That was very, very nice.
Nice.
Okay, well, it sounds like we've about covered it. You're done, Alyssa? Pretty much? Okay.
My part is done. Yeah.
Well, let's give Alyssa a round of applause. She can't hear it, but let's do it anyway.
Thank you.
I can hear it. Yes, thank you. I can see it too. Thank you so much. It was fun. I hope you can learn something and bring it back to your club.
Well,
yes, thank you very much. Also, before we go, let's have a round of applause for Teddy Kennedy, who kept this show on the road here. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Take care. Thank you for coming to LACE. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed being here, and I hope to see you again. Take care.
Don't forget the survey in the chat box.
Oh, yes. Is there a survey in the chat box? Let's do the survey in the chat box.
Alyssa, good job today.
Thank you.
Yep.
David, what are you?
Well, I chose an eagle, but I'm probably a combination of an eagle and a lion. So I'm a cheagle. Or no, a ligal.
Like,
All right, I think the eagle is a popular one. I'm going to come up with a ligal. I have to think of new animals now.
Yeah, I like the beagle.
yeah, Beagle is good.